It's December! NaNoWriMo is over, which means it's time to start revising, right? Well, you may want to hang on to that thought for just a second. In this video, I'm breaking down the single most important first step of any novel revision. Trust me, you'll want to do this first before you revise a single word, and it's coming up. Hello, Jessica Brody here, author of the #1 best-selling plotting guides, Save the Cat Writes a Novel, Save the Cat Writes a Young Adult Novel, as well as over 20 novels, and the founder of the Writing Mastery Academy. So, you finished your first draft, either during NaNoWriMo or any time of year. Phew. And now you may or may not be staring down at a huge pile of messy pages that may or may not resemble an actual novel. My guess is you're exhausted. You're burnt out. You're sick of the story and all the characters and never want to look at them again. Sounds like the perfect headspace for starting a novel revision, doesn't it? Can you sense my sarcasm? The truth is, the first step in revising your novel after any whirlwind marathon of writing a first draft is actually not revising your novel. What? Okay, here's the problem. Too many writers, after writing a first draft, dive straight into the revision, either because they're terrified they're going to forget everything, lose their momentum, or maybe they have deadlines looming and don't have a second to spare, or maybe they do it because they think that's the way you're supposed to revise a novel. Well, I'm not a big fan of supposed to anything, but I'll tell you what my first step is in revising any novel. And from what I've heard from other authors, a very common and important first step in revising a novel, and that is to forget your story. Yep, you heard that right. Instead of scrambling to start your revision as soon as you can so you remember everything about your story, you might find yourself better off doing the opposite. I find that the more I can forget my story, the better chance I have at revising it with clarity, confidence, and with a fresh blanket of inspiration. And trust me, you're going to need that fresh blanket of inspiration. Revising is no easy task. If you've just finished the first draft of a novel, then trying to revise it right away will not only fatigue and overwhelm you, it also might not be the best use of your time because your brain hasn't had a chance to reset and refresh. You won't be able to look at your manuscript with fresh eyes and see your plot problems with the perspective you need to fix them. Let's look at the word revision. Literally, it's revision, to see your story in a new way. In other words, to stop seeing your story as a writer and start seeing it as a reader. And in order to do that, you kind of need to forget all about it. So how do you forget your story? Easy. The same way you get over a bad breakup. Time. A few weeks should do it, even a few months if you want, or if you're on a tight deadline, try a few days. Time is the most important first step in any novel revision because with time, you get distance. With distance, you get perspective. With perspective, you get clarity. And with clarity, you get confidence. All of that adds up to a very important key ingredient in a revision: inspiration. I can't tell you how many first drafts I've finished thinking the problems in it were unclimbable mountains and uncrossable chasms and unmovable continents, only to find, after just a little time and distance, that not only were those problems not as big as I thought, but the solutions to them were more obvious and less complicated than I thought. But these were solutions I probably never would have come up with right after the first draft was done. These are solutions that only came about because I was able to re-look at my story more objectively after, you guessed it, time. So do yourself and your story a favor. Take a break from it. Work on something else. Another creative project, maybe another novel. Give the story some time and space and then come back to it when you're feeling refreshed and motivated again. Doesn't your novel deserve to be worked on from a refreshed and motivated state of mind? And don't be surprised if solutions to your plot problems start popping up in your mind during that time away, because brains are pretty good at working on things without telling you that they're working on things. If that happens, great. Write those ideas down somewhere and keep trying to forget your story. Only when you've forgotten it can you be reintroduced to it with excitement, like an old friend that you can't wait to catch up with. So what happens after you forget your story? What's the next important step to revising your novel? I'll tell you. It's to download my free novel revision Kickstart guide, which I'll link to in the description below. In this free guide, you'll learn a tried and true revision method designed to make you feel organized, efficient, and in control. This guide walks you through an introduction to my popular level down revision method, which I've taught to thousands of writers. It also includes a list of questions to ask yourself to diagnose common problems in your novel and the 5 steps you need to kickstart your novel revision whenever you're ready. Check the description for a link to download that free guide today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to thumbs up this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to find more useful writing tips. I'll see you next time, my friend, and as always, happy writing and happy revising.